Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Sana Parvez, your legal expert from Hitbullseye, and in today's video we are not going to discuss any of the legal concepts, complicated legal terms, etc. Instead, we are going to do what is important for the last week, for this very moment, for the last few days that we have for CLAT exam. So I know that you have prepared very hard, very consistently. I know you have practiced a lot. I know that you have studied a lot, read a lot, learned a lot, and I know that you have been consistent in the last few months with respect to all your sections. And now finally it is the time to translate all of it in the 2-hour paper. So in today's video, we are going to discuss some ways, tips and tricks in order to make sure that whatever we have studied, we are able to encapsulate all of it in the last few days, and we are able to translate it on the paper in the best way we can. So what are the ways in which we can be the most productive? What are the ways in which we can utilize these few days to the maximum? So let us delve into it and let us try to understand certain things from the CLAT consortium point of view. First of all, I need all of you people to understand and remember one fact, that at this point you must be thinking, okay, CLAT consortium is going to put this, CLAT consortium is, we have a habit of demonizing CLAT consortium. So do not do that. We have a habit of rather demonizing any examiner at this point of time. So you have to understand that the paper is basically made in such a way, the paper is drafted in such a way so as to choose the best lawyers in the country, so as to make sure that if you're getting selected, you should be the best lawyer in the country. And that is why they have made in paper which is reading and interpretation based, which is taking into account your reading comprehension, your understanding of law, etc. They are trying to check that if they put a law in front of you that has been drafted by lawmakers, would you be able to interpret that law? Would you be able to make out what the law is? Would you be able to apply that law in certain situations? Firstly. Secondly, would you be able to understand what the tone of a passage, etc. is? All of that, comprehension and language. And secondly, they are trying to check whether you would be able to do all of this in a certain limited amount of time or not. So they are checking essentially your time management also. And they are checking whether in that span of 2 hours, would you be able to be calm? Would you be able to answer cogently? Would you be able to answer properly with practical mind? So what you have to understand is that if you genuinely believe that you're going to make good lawyers and you have it in you, I'm sure all of you have chosen to take this exam because you somewhere felt that you're going to make good lawyers and this is your forte. And if you have ever felt this way, then CLAT is a good exam. Don't worry, don't get anxious. You are going to be able to crack the exam and you're going to be able to do the exam in a proper manner. So certain things that we are going to make sure, what are we going to do in the last few days that we have left, starting from today itself to the 2nd of December. 3rd of December of course is our exam, so we are going to plan up till the 2nd of December. So first of all, we have to remember two things. First of all, you can ditch all the other sectionals as of now. You don't have to focus on doing the sectionals for legal reasoning, doing the sectionals for English, verbal, that is critical thinking, logical reasoning, or maths. You have to do all of those things in mock formats. So start taking one mock per day at least. And I will not say that start taking more than one mock, because what you're doing is essentially dividing your whole day into two parts. One, where you're practicing your mocks, and secondly, where you're doing your GK capsules. So why I'm not including all the other sections in this is because of the fact that all the other sections are reading and practice based. This is one section that you can learn and keep on revising, and at this point of time it is going to give you some kind of an advantage to do it till the very end. But the other sections you have probably already understood, you have understood the nuances, you have understood the other things behind it, so you can only do it in mocks and you're not required to do it in other formats per se. So first of all, when I'm saying that you have to do one mock per day, that doesn't mean that you have to just sit there for 2 hours and get completed with one mock, and then probably thinking that okay, I can do, if I sit for 6 hours I can do 3 mocks a day. Only in an endeavor to increase the number of mocks that you're doing. Just don't keep attempting the mocks and not analyzing it. As important as it is to attempt the mock, it is just as important to analyze the mock. When you analyze the mock, make sure that you mark whatever questions were wrong, whatever questions were not attempted by you, and secondly, make sure to categorize these questions into 3 formats basically. One format could be that you did not know, that you had not heard of that concept. So I had no idea about that concept. I had no idea that such a law or such a thing existed at all. Secondly, I had an idea about that thing, but probably I did not know that one question, or I did not know how to apply that thing in that particular situation. And thirdly, I did something wrong because of a careless mistake. So now these are the possible 3 things. I did not know anything at all. I did not have the clarity of topic, but I knew about that topic, and I did a silly mistake. These are the 3 categories in which you can categorize your mistakes. If you are getting, if there is a problem in the first category, that is that you did not know about that topic at all, then try understanding the topic, try learning the topic, and basically covering that topic in the minimum amount of time that you can. Just go over it and have a cursory glance at it. If it is a second category, that I knew the topic but I was a little ambiguous about it, then you can just go through the questions that you did wrong and read it once where you went wrong. And if you're getting mistakes in the third category, that is careless mistakes, remember always in this paper, careless mistakes are not cannot be classified as careless mistakes per se, because they are essentially some very grave mistakes. If they're very simple things, if they sound very simple, but if we are mindful of these things before sitting in the paper, that this is something wrong that we do, so we'll not make those mistakes. For example, when you're reading the paper is an offline paper, so obviously you're going to carry pens with you. When you're reading, you underline, and you make sure that you underline or mark or circle certain questions which we call negative words. For example, you can mark something if they're saying valid, invalid, a lot of incorrect, correct, it should be constitutionally struck down, what thought is the author supporting or not supporting, so not, invalid, etc. A lot of people make a lot of mistakes in reading the right thing as per the paper. Similarly, if it is given in the passage is given about one thing, and in the question they are asking you, okay, but answer according to this particular case law, but answer according to the law before this particular date. So you have to be very mindful of what they are asking you, of what, say for example, the operation of law is going to be before this date or after this date. You have to be very mindful of those things. Don't make those mistakes. Don't let these be your silly mistakes at least. Okay. Secondly, our GK capsules. How to cover our GK capsules in the next half of the day, we are going to discuss it here. So first of all, when you discuss your try to revise your GK capsules, first of all, go in the reverse format. Go in reverse in the sense that start with October, don't start with November, it's very unlikely to come. But you can start with, I think October is a good place to start. Do October, September, and keep going 1 month, so on in reverse. And just make sure if you're doing 2 or 3 months in one day, then you're getting up the next day in the morning and you're revising it also. Always make sure that you're not doing 200, 300 topics from 2-3 months. You're doing certain topics only. You're doing the important topics. There are certain topics, for example, the Israel-Palestine conflict, the BRICS summit, the climate change basically COP and the G20, etc. These are the topics that are the most common topics pertaining to this year. So make sure that you are doing all those topics. Secondly, make sure that if there is a certain passage, for example, if you're practicing in mock and say in one topic you have to understand how much you're scoring. The second point, I have heard about it but I'm ambiguous on the question. In this category you have to understand whether you're scoring more than 3 marks or less than 3 marks in one passage. That is, out of 5, are you scoring more than 3 out of 5 or less than or equal to 3 out of 5. So if you're scoring less than or equal to 3 out of 5, then you need to understand the topic a little bit. If the topic is pertaining to GK especially, then what you're going to do is you're going to go back. Then it means that you don't have the conceptual clarity or you don't understand the topic and you're completely divorced with the topic. So in this case, if you have 1, 2 or 3 marks out of 5 in a passage, what you're going to do is at this point of time just have a cursory glance at the topic. How you're going to have a cursory glance in the topic also depends on you. At this point you have to understand whether you're an auditory learner or a visual learner. See, it does not matter. In the formal months we tell the students that okay, you know what, try to do it in the reading format, try to learn things because it's a reading intensive paper, so it's solving 2 purposes. Right now it is not solving 2 purposes, whatever is a shorter way for you. So if you're a reading visual learner, if you learn by reading, then go to that source, read a little bit about it from Google itself. And if you are an auditory learner, then go on to YouTube, type in that topic, and there are going to be a lot of videos which are going to explain you that particular thing from this perspective, and just watch a small video, short video on maybe you can speed it up at 1.25 or 1.5 according to your convenience, and try to go through that topic once. Okay. So only do important topics. At this point of time you can ditch all the one-liner kind of questions. There's a lot of GK. So GK is a huge topic. At this point of time you don't need to do the kind of GK which is only going to involve one-liners. But where you think it is an event and it is going to involve more than one question, in that case you can do that topic. Only pertain yourself to those topics only. And also keep the same source. If I am reading, for example, from the Bulldoze edition September, then I am going to wake up in the morning the next day and I am going to revise from the very book, and I am not going to take the online copy of the book, but I am going to revise from the hard copy only. If I have done it from the online copy, I am going to revise it from the online copy only, so that our retention increases, and the more times, the more number of times we see it, the more repetitions that we take, it consolidates in our head and it solidifies in our head. So that is the intention in keeping the same source at this very moment. Okay, so now that we are done with the GK part, let's go on to the legal part. Legal part in this, as I've told you in the previous slide, that you're not going to focus solely on sectionals from legal as of now. What you can do is practice the legal part in the mocks only. You already know the concepts, you already know the mostly static concepts. So what you need to do is just focus on the application of law. That is, that you can only practice as of the moment. Revise a topic only in certain cases. As I told you, the same case in GK, you are going to only revise a topic if you feel that, you know, I scored 1 or 2 or 3 marks out of 5 marks in a certain passage. That is the only time you should go back and revise a topic. Otherwise, what you can do, if you scored 4 or 5 out of 5 marks, 5 out of 5, then you know the topic. If you're scoring 4 out of 5 marks, then you don't need to go back and read the topic. You can just see where I did wrong. That is it, and that will be a corrective part. But if you're scoring lesser, then you need to understand that topic. If that topic is of static, you're going to find a lot of resources. Just make sure that you do few current passages also from the mocks that you're getting. If you're preparing from Hitbullseye mocks, then in the homework exercises and in the mocks also, you're going to get passages pertaining to, especially in this year, the current topics. The important topics would be the biology, Ecological Conservation, the Biological Diversity Amendment Act, the Forest Conservation Amendment Act, the Delhi Services Act, the Mediation Act. Then apart from acts, there are certain bills which were important, the criminal laws, the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sahita, IPC, the new form of IPC, etc. So because of that, certain points like sedition, police custody got highlighted. So those are important topics. With respect to judgments, there was a lift of ban on Jallikattu sports. Then there was freedom of right to speech and expression in the Kaushal Kishore versus the state of UP. And then more recently, there was the same-sex marriage judgment vis-a-vis the Article 21 and right to privacy. So all of those things are important topics. Just make sure that even if you're doing those things, you're doing those things in the passage format and not so much for gaining of knowledge. Those things are important from the point of view of applicability of law and nothing else per se. Okay, so now that we are done with the legal portion of it, we come to English and logical reasoning. At this point of time, I will give you the same advice that I gave in legal. English and logical reasoning, it makes more sense that you do all those things through mocks only and through practice only. Just practice, take a last glance at the tones of the passages. Yes, at the tones of the passages, the words that are generally used. If you have a list of the words of the tones that are used in the passages, whether passages didactic, descriptive, what the author's tone is, etc. All of those things. So what you can do is you can have a cursory glance in the last few days. Sometimes what happens is that we understand the passage, but we don't understand what the examiner is asking us, because we don't understand the words in the question. So there are certain words in the questions, for example, as I just referred, for example, the tones in the passage, etc. You should be very sure that if you've skipped any of those important words, just go through a list of those words in order to make sure that you are understanding at least the whole meaning of the question, if nothing else. Okay. And otherwise, you can always formulate answer based on the context of the passage, the context of the question, any which ways. And the last method, quantitative aptitude formula. See, I would not recommend you spending a lot of time on quantitative aptitude at this point of time, because quantitative aptitude, if you're a beginner or if you've been practicing for only a few months and you're not that good in maths, then it is going to take up a lot of your time. So it is better to keep mind that, okay, these are the kind of questions that I'm going to do. The ratios, percentages questions, for example, these are the questions that I've prepared, these are the questions that I'm going to do. And just have a cursory glance before you go. Just have a cursory glance at all the formulae and all the basically all the methods, the formulae, etc. And you don't need to practice at this point of time. If on the other hand, if you're very good at it and if you've already prepared, then you can give 10 to 15 minutes every day to just make sure to do 1 or 2 sums of the same every day, and that would be all. So now the more important things, and again I know that these are things that are easier said and we keep on telling you at all points of time, but these are more important at this point where you have only a few days to the paper. So first of all, you have to focus on sleep. Sleep is very important at this point of time because the paper is from 2 to 4, and I know a lot of you people are basically habitual of afternoon naps. So all of the people, this I'm saying it especially for the people who are habitual of afternoon naps, stop taking them. Increase your time in the night. You can study, you can sleep for longer hours in the night. You can wake up at a good time. If you set up your body clock already according to what it is going to be like on the day of the paper, then it is going to be easier for you, for your body to adapt to it on the day of the paper, and it makes a huge difference. And so if you're not getting proper sleep and if you're feeling sleepy during the paper, it is going to make a lot of difference. And also at this point of time, you have to understand that it is not that kind of a paper in which we can cram up and we can spit it out in the paper, that's it. We cannot cram up the paper. The paper requires you to have a good mindset, to have a healthy mindset, to have a calmness of mind, etc. And that is why we require you already from today onwards sleep at the right time. You can wake up a little late, that is okay, because the paper is going to be an afternoon paper, so there's no pressure of getting up at 5 in the morning or whatever. That you can choose according to yourself, but train your body according to this. Secondly, stop. I know this is very generic and this is something that people advise for longer durations, but I'm only saying stop eating junk food, stop eating oily food only at least till your exams, only till your CLAT exam and then probably your ALET exam also. But stop eating food which is going to make you feel drowsy, stop eating food that is going to make you feel sleepy, and start eating the kind of food that are going to make you feel a little healthy, and eat well during that time. And the third thing and the most important thing over here, remember kids, you have to go in a very good mindset. The paper is the paper, whatever you do in those 2 hours. It doesn't matter, sometimes we look at other people and we think that, okay, this person is prepared better than us, that person's prepared better than us. A lot of times, what happens before, right in front of the examination hall only, there are a lot of people who are preparing, there are a lot of people, your friends are discussing, very vigorously about things. You can do it. You can do it till say Saturday, but do not do it on the day of the paper. On the day of the paper, whatever be confident in yourself that whatever you have done is going to come in the paper. And while you are taking the paper also, in case when you sit down, first of all, reach the examination hall a little early. When you sit down, take a few deep breaths and start your paper. If something, if you're not able to answer correctly, or if you feel that you have answered incorrectly or been confused in the paper at any point of time, do not take tension in those 2 hours. In those 2 hours, it should be extremely focused on the paper. See, whatever you had to do, whatever you were required to do into reaching the paper, etc., that is a secondary thing now. Now the only thing that matters is the question, whether I answered the question or not. Forget everything else. Forget any kind of I have to reach there, I have to this is the college I want, this is not the college I want, etc. Forget thinking about anything, especially in those 2 hours, and also before the exam at least. Forget about, you're going to get let me tell you, you're going to get a plenty of time thinking what could be done, what could not be done, where do you want to go. You're also going to get a lot of time to daydream after the exam is done. So this is the college that I wanted to go to, that is the college, that is why I want to do this, all of that desire, motivation. This is not the time for it. The time is basically to do the work right now and just to be very focused. Put your blinkers on, no nothing else, take rest. And especially this, I'm talking about the 2nd of December. What are you going to do on the 2nd of December? That is Saturday, one day before the exam. You're not going to attempt a mock. Do not attempt a mock, because whatever you do in the mock is going to be it is going to be something very reflective of your your mood will be pulled down if it is not good. See, some mocks are good, some mocks are not good. Sometimes we score a lot, some mocks are drafted, or some mocks are made in such a way that it is difficult for you to score. Sometimes things don't go our way, but mocks are not an idealistic mirror or a representation of how you're going to perform in the exam. So that is why, yes, practicing mocks is very important only till Friday. In the last day, if you do it, you're just going to cause unnecessary anxiety to yourself. And this I'm saying especially for the people who do get anxious or who do get worried about their exam, about their scores, etc. Do not do these things on the last day. What you can do is once go through the important topics for GK, once go through the important topics of legal, once revise whatever tones come in your logical reasoning, and once you can have a look at the formulae. That is it. Don't give a lot of time to it also, and that would be all for the exam. that is all the preparation that is required. I'm pretty sure that you're going to make it, and not make it to just make it. I'm pretty sure that if you stay consistent, if you stay focused, you are going to achieve your goals, and I'll see you all in very good schools. So last going away thought: nothing makes a player more productive than the last minute. That is the importance of the last minute indeed. Nothing makes a player more productive than the last minute. If you have presence of mind, if you have calmness in this minute, in the 2 hours that we are talking about, all the hard work is, you will be redeemed for all the hard work that you did. And I hope all of you do that. Best of luck, all of you. I'll see you in good colleges. Okay, bye bye. Take care.